Welcome back to the Sweat Equity Athletic and Leadership Platform. I'm here with the host, Coach Pittman Kennedy. Excuse me, let me get that right. Doctor, because we just accomplished that here over the last 90 days, correct?
That's correct.
So, we had a little script of what we're going to do, so let's go off script a little bit because we love to do that. And let's talk about that part because last time we talked, you were not Dr. Kennedy, I don't believe. Now you are officially, because I saw all the pictures and you went to your actual ceremony, you are Dr. Pittman Kennedy.
Yeah, what we saw 2 weeks ago was the actual commencement. The work was done. I got conferred back in April, but my school, Grand Canyon, only do graduation twice a year, so I was slated for the October session, so I did the commencement. But yes, last time we spoke, that was prior to the commencement, and that was after the conference. So yeah, Dr. Kennedy.
Okay,
Thank
okay.
you.
So I'm going to drop the coach and just call you doctor from now on. That coach, okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, Doc. All right, I appreciate it. Okay, so let's go ahead. So one of the things I need to know and everybody else out there needs to know, where have you been within the last 90 days? What have you been up to? Why haven't we really been able to get together with both our schedules changing? Tell us what's been going on.
Been busy, man. Active, moving. I have a whole lot of lines of effort in my daily activities. We got the individual workout session, which is pre-dawn, usually between 5 o'clock and 6:30, and then we go into a job. I work for the Air Force still, thankfully, and then after work, typically I'm occupied with some type of basketball skill development obligation. I'm also adjunct faculty, doctoral faculty at Carolina University. So that eats up some of my time. But that's local. On the national level, we were supporting an NBA Top 100 camp in the summer. So I went down to Orlando for a week. And then I also was supporting John Lucas camps during the Labor Day weekend for the high school girls, top 160. And then there was a boys camp right after that. And then I also supported some local programs over here that we have some contracted sessions with. And even as we speak, I'm wrapping up another contract session to go out to Detroit, Michigan, the first weekend of December to do a clinic in collaboration with a Baptist church out there. So been real busy over the last 3-4 months, but I enjoy it because this is what proves my why. You got to stay busy, got to stay engaged, got to stay current so you don't fall behind. Yeah.
And that's one of the things I love about you. And I told you that 2 days ago when we were talking on the phone, how you stay engaged, how do you make sure you have enough on your plate and you stay organized with it to allow yourself to just keep moving forward and staying consistent and staying in the know what's going on. You know all you're a great ambassador for the game of basketball. You're a great mentor to those that's in your circle. How do you balance those two things to make sure, even if they carry over a little bit, you still stay focused on what we're trying to do? Because again, all the great things you're doing, it's really, really easy to get big-headed and to think you know more than everybody else. And so what are you doing to stay grounded with all that? 'Cause that's important.
That's a great question. And there's so many variables that make up that whole, okay?
Okay.
First of all, is understanding your purpose. And we all, as human beings, it is said that there's two important days: the day you were born and the day you find out why. Finding out why is in relationship to understanding your purpose. So once we understand our purpose, then we got to find a way to where we are meeting that. And our purpose in each individual may be different. But once you understand your purpose, then you start to build what we call the battle rhythm and a balancing act, because there's so many things that's competing for your time, for your knowledge, for your resources, for your ability, and everything, whether it's business related, professional related, or even personal. relationships, family members, loved ones. There's so many pieces that's competing for your time. So what you do first, my recommendation, what I do for myself is I go into a planning piece, all right? You plan what the next day is going to look like. What do you desire out of the next week? What things are you going to accomplish over the next month, the next 3 months, the next year, those types of things. And then once you plan, you engage in the practice of execution. During the execution piece, there's going to be some shortfalls, all right? There's going to be some goals that you set that you are not going to accomplish, and it's okay. But it's that attitude of mind to keep moving. It's similar to a football game. During a football game, sometimes you progressively gain yards, and sometimes you regress. And when you regress, and then you go for the long haul. So it's kind of like a balancing act where you kind of understand what your goals are. But I will tell you, if there's no plan, and there's not goals that are predefined, then almost like you're in a whirlwind of circle, just going aimlessly, with no focus, with no purpose, with no determination, and no desired outcome. Sometimes I'd rather you try and fail and understand that you've fallen short and fail than to deceive yourself and think that you are moving forward. Because movement without progress is a waste of time, all right? Activity without achievement is the same. There's nothing coming out of it. So once we understand our purpose and we can do a self-accountability, checks and balances to ourselves to say, look, I set out to accomplish X, Y, and Z. I only accomplished X. What are the reasons why I didn't accomplish Y and Z? That's called your lessons learned. You use that now to prepare yourself for the next journey, for the next day, for the next week, and the next month. It's a constant project management on your personal self.
So what you're really saying is, in a positive way, we sometimes need failure to help us find a why. Sometimes we might have a why, but with failing at when we are trying to do something, that helps us find that extra why. Am I right?
That's correct.
Okay. So
failure, right? Failure
correct.
is a deceptive word. It depends on how you understand it.
Yes, it is.
If you understand it negatively, then people try to stay away from things that are negative.
Yes.
You have to view failure as positive.
Yes.
All right?
Yes.
Think about a child that starts to walk. How many times do the child fall down?
Shoot.
A lot.
Yeah.
But that's progress, right?
Right, every other step.
Eventually, the same child that struggled to take the first step becomes a sprinter at some point in time.
Correct.
It's a progressive elaboration due to consistency
Correct.
in work.
So that kind of great segment to our next part, and let's talk about what are you doing in Liberia right now? Because, man, I'm watching, I'm talking with you, and seeing some of the groups that you're part of, and you guys are really making a true impact on that country right now. And can you share that with the audience a little bit?
Yeah.
We have a trip coming up here.
Liberia, you got to see. You see, the thing about Liberia, that's where I was born. So home is where the heart is, no
Yes.
matter where you go in this world.
Yes.
Yes, I'm patriotic as a U.S. veteran, and I love what the United States stands for, and I embrace the fabric of the United States colors because it's the Air Force that gave me the agenda for my life to transform from who I was to who I am. And what the Air Force have given me, nobody else can take out. So let me preference that. That being said, Liberia is where my heart is. That's where they bury my navel string. So things that are going on in Liberia are always going to be a part of my mind, always a part of my life.
Right.
So what am I doing in Liberia? Outside of the political arena, my goal for Liberia is to develop young people, to give people hope, but not only giving them hope, but to help them manifest their goals, their dreams, their aspirations, so that they too can be successful, so that they too can, whether it's the American dream or whether it's a dream in Liberia. The thing is, because Liberia has been subjected to abject poverty over a long period of time, our people are starting to lose their values. All right, the fundamental values. You see, poverty is a traumatic experience. So when we stay in poverty year in and year out, there has to be a way out. And sometimes, unfortunately, and very sadly, our people turn towards things that are not legal, that are not moral, that are not ethical, as a means to counteract poverty. So how do you resolve that? You resolve that by helping to give them hope and give them resources. Because I will tell you, giving hope is easier said than done.
Right.
Because a hungry man is an angry man. So if you don't have resources to provide them, you can only motivate them so long. Your motivation is going to be so short-reaching, because the idea is that they're hungry, they need to eat,
Right.
or they need to be assured that you can at least provide somewhere a safe haven, maybe an educational opportunity,
Right.
maybe something through athletics, maybe somewhere for them to lay their head. When people understand that you can do that, even on a small scale,
Right.
then they tend to listen to the message you are giving them. Being a child from Liberia, I understand what poverty is. I've been through that. I understand what not having meals to eat looks like. I understand what not having the basic resources like a nice pair of shoes to play basketball in. I understand what the lack of those things means and what it feels like. So I'm not just giving a message to people from an advantageous position. I'm giving a message to people from an authentic and experienced position, things that I'm validated and credited to my journey. Having been equipped with those experiences, now I'm able to tell young people, hey, look at me. You too can get an opportunity. Maybe not in the United States, maybe in the United States. But when you start to develop certain intrinsic values, you will be ready one day when your opportunity knocks. So here's the thing. We're going to use basketball as a means to an end. Basketball clinics. I got a project team in Liberia, but that is not enough. So what we're trying to do as a sweat equity institution now is trying to engage in some in businesses. Because when you start to do business in the country, you employ people. When you employ people, you give them the opportunity to feed themselves and their families. So we're looking at several different opportunities to expand in Liberia from a business standpoint. That coupled with our philanthropic effort would definitely be able to make a difference. Maybe a small difference. But if I help somebody and they help somebody else, there go the legacy being run down the lines, or the generational lines. So that's in a nutshell what we're doing in Liberia.
So with all that being said, your projects you have from here in Texas, and then other locations, Detroit, Orlando, Liberia. What do you consider a success in all the things you have? Because right now it sounds like you have a lot of things, and with a lot of things going on, how are you measuring that success? Because one, you're using sports, basketball is the means, but at the same time, all of them have a different impact on how we're using basketball. So how are you using the success from every project to allow yourself to keep being motivated and focused, and to allow yourself to have that direction that you're talking about, that you're trying to provide to others?
Yeah, that's a great question. So success for me is a never-ending journey. And it should be for a lot of people. Because a lot of time when you say successful, when they tell you that a person is successful, a lot of time people look for where they live, what they drive, and how much money in the bank accounts. Success for me is a progressive elaboration towards a predetermined goal. I mentioned earlier about purpose. All right, what's your purpose? When you leave this earth, what is it that you want to be remembered for? So if you want to leave a legacy, then you should be marching towards leaving a legacy. The fact that you set a goal and you understand that you are moving progressively there, deliberately towards that goal, that's what success looks like. Now, how do you create a culture, an ecosystem for you to thrive in? Because you see, while we are trying to work to move forward, me, you, the young gentleman, whoever it is, there's also equally opposite forces that are fighting against us. They come in the form of sometimes it's nature, sometimes it's they're identified, they're designed to help you become more resilient. Sometimes it's people due to their personal, whatever, disparities, things that they may not like about you. And I say enviousness, jealousy, those types of things. So when you wake up every day, as you progress toward your end goal, you're also going to have these forces. It's like an aircraft going up. There's going to be some turbulence that's going to be coming, pushing it back down. The forces of gravity and all those things, right? So you have to build that ecosystem. Remember I told you about planning earlier. So you have to plan who's in your circle. Because if you're not careful about who's in your circle, somebody might be drilling a hole. So
Right.
all your work become wasted work, or you're limited in your progressive results.
Right.
How are you limited? If you are supposed to work towards getting, maybe, I'm just using a figure, $5,000, and you have to pay $3,000 in losses because people are not doing what they're supposed to do. Yes, you could have made $5,000, but you just only made $2,000 because $3,000 was used internally due to deficiencies that you could have controlled or the people around you. So one of the things you want to do as far as being successful is making sure you understand who's on your team. Are they moving towards the same goal? If you find those things out, you'll be exponentially moving towards your end goal. Again, success for me is knowing where I'm going, seeing the results along the way. If you can help one kid and feed them today, to me that's success.
Right.
If you can put one kid through a school, that's success. Moving towards your end goal.
Okay. So we talked about, what you did in the past as far as within the last 90 days. What's projected with going forward with the next 90 days? I know we have the camp in Liberia coming up here in December. What are the dates on that? Or what's the time frame we're trying to take care of that?
So we haven't really identified the dates. Everything is predicated on my arrival in country.
Okay.
And you also understand that, again, I have a full-time job here.
Okay.
I'm also teaching at the university. So it's about balancing those schedules to allow me to travel to Liberia and be fully engaged while I'm there. Because the young people that I'm going to target that's going to benefit from these efforts, they need to get 100% of me and my services.
Right.
So how do I do that is build a team that's going to be pre-working on some of the logistics piece.
Right.
Finding a location, negotiating that. Everything comes with a cost. Formulating a budget and resources. And then, so the next 90 days is going to be focused on that. While we are there, we're also going to look at the business opportunities. One of the reasons that we are really delayed and this late in making sure that everything is not finalized is because of the political environment. There's been some hostility. There's been some during the election. We're in the midst of election right now.
Okay.
And a lot of people are kind of cautious. All eyes are on Liberia right now about the outcome, because the outcome really do matter in what we do as well. It's not a showstopper,
right,
but it could cause some delays and some detours.
Right.
We're all looking at that. So this is a unique year. But 2024, we are going full force. We are sending equipment, resources, and those things before we arrive, so we can enhance the quality of our delivery, wherever it is that we are delivering, whether it's athletics, whether it's a leadership platform, whether it's classrooms, those things. A lot of those things will be identified and sent ahead.
Well, since you mentioned that, what are some of the things if a company or a business or someone just wants to help with those needs? How would you like to get that stuff to you? Or even if it's a monetary donation, how can we help? What can we do? Do we send it to you? Do we contact myself? Or what are some of the things that we can do to make sure if a business would like to donate monetarily or some equipment, how will we go about doing that?
So right now, everything has been done through Sweat Equity Athletic and Leadership, and I'm the owner, operator, and those types of things. However, a lot of what I have been soliciting have been basketball equipment, whether it's some basketball, some training equipment, some shoes, things for the kids, and I've been able to send or take whatever I can take and use them. When I take them, I just leave them. Like if I take 20 basketballs, I'll leave them over there because the kids need them. So, but what we need to do further, and I don't have a GoFundMe, or we don't solicit,
Right.
But if anybody want to donate, definitely can help. I also have a Sweat Equity, have a scholarship program that we have some kids that's going to school. So again, if there's donations from anyone, we definitely will welcome them and bless the children that needs it. That's kind of how we operate, because this is why I operate like this. And going forward, what we need to do is, as an organization, is build a revenue baseline. All right? And that's the next plan for the next year.
Okay,
So right now,
2024.
what we do is we use income and revenue from the basketball operations in the United States to support the kids in Liberia. We don't charge the kids in Liberia for anything. We provide to them because that's our means of giving back.
Well, I'm gonna be the first to say, moving forward, when you make that trip, Super Sports Media will make a donation, a cash donation to you of $500 to allow you to use that how you need to use it as far as while you boots on ground over there. So I'm making sure I say that publicly and let you know that, hey, I always support you and always back you, and you have your production company behind you, Super Sports Media.
Awesome. And, I would qualify that. Just first, I'll say thanks and appreciation. We didn't ask for that, but I will tell you right away, $500 can put two kids through school for an academic year. So once we get on ground, definitely we got to connect and do some type of video connection to where the recipients, the beneficiaries,
Yes.
can see where the source comes from.
Yes.
And you can be credited as well because again, it's part of this ecosystem I'm talking about. You don't have to be present on ground, but it's the collaboration that we have that help our people.
Well, again, for us, it's just more of a letting everybody know, and you already know this, that I back you 1,000%. You don't have to worry about that, but I want to make sure everybody understands that hey, I support everything that you're doing here and over there, to the point to where whatever you need and whatever we can help you with, we're going to do that. So we're going to wrap up the show, but let's go ahead and wrap it up with your final thoughts.
Yeah, so I would like to leave people with takeaways, and I'd like them to be profound. When I came to the United States, I was a refugee kid and young, inexperienced, and I was provided with this glorious opportunity of hope. And it's a perception that you have that would drive your progression and your outcome. All right? When I came, I had not graduated high school because of the war. The people that were born around my age, a lot of them were already through. But I did not let that set me back or hold me back. So I looked at what I needed to catch up. And in the words of Dr. Martin Luther King, when you fall behind in a race, you got to speed up to catch up, or you're going to forever remain behind. So it's this proverbial speed, this acceleration that I have had embraced that continuously burn my fire. Why is that important? My takeaway for people is, listen, no matter where you're at today in this world, in this environment that we are in, make sure you have that attitude of speeding up. Because if you are a black person, you probably are at a deficit. That's the first thing. Understand that. Understand what you're faced with and start to accelerate. Now, how do we accelerate? I don't mean the proverbial running. I mean the physical running. Accelerate in your attitude. Make sure your attitude is positive. Make sure you are honest in your work ethic. Make sure you hold yourself accountable. Make sure you are diligent in what you put out. Because what you put out is what comes back to you. All right? Because I will say this, no matter where you're at, you don't have to be at an elevated state for people to see you. People are watching you. They look left, they look right. One of the things that has sustained me is consistency in professionalism. You make your argument and your performance compelling for people to look at. You are consistent, you are committed, and you are concise in your results. Those are some of the 5 C's that qualify success as well. And once you do that, people will draw towards you. My brothers and sisters, the more you practice that, success can never be denied. It may be delayed, but you'll always achieve success. Because my final quote is this, write this down. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way is the way. That's from Marcus Aurelius. But what that means is, wherever is blocking your success, your path, that's the opportunity. Don't turn away. Challenge it, mitigate, go around, go over, go through. And you will soon find on the other side of that obstacle is where your peace is. It's where your happiness, where your success, where your results are. So thank you for the show today. Thank you for your commitment. Thank you for your contribution. I appreciate everything. I look forward to the continual partnership. It's been 4 years and counting now, and we are still moving strong. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.